What's going on, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Talking in Bits, where we walk you through Bitcoin bit by bit so we can provide you with the information you need to succeed and persist. Back with episode 28. Got Ben along.
Sir.
Back from vacation mode.
What's happening, man? How was the Cape?
The Cape was good, man. I'm feeling to get back on the microphone, though. I don't like leaving weeks with no content. And I think I've done that twice. Not week.
For anyone who's wondering, we've rescheduled a couple times, and Jose is extremely zealous that we must get content up every week. So
yeah,
he's trying to get y'all new content weekly.
It's just always so much to talk about.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, and it's exciting. But yeah, back from vacation mode, back to go. I will say that I've been staying away from Twitter. I think there's a lot of noise going around. I think people start to get antsy when the price starts to kind of just do the shuffle and stay in place. I can never understand why that's a thing, but it is. It is, you know.
I've seen some tweets about it, and I've talked to friends about it. If you're trying to get rich quick and you bought Bitcoin, maybe you bought it at the high. I see why you're antsy. But once you understand like historical Bitcoin trends and the technology that Bitcoin is, nobody who's held for 4 years or longer has ever lost any money, right? So you're basically buying, holding long-term, dollar cost averaging, I guess you're antsy if you have a loan, right? And it's backed by Bitcoin.
Sure. There's a lot of reasons to be antsy, uninformed, all these things are very antsy, but I like to see it from the other end, which is, if you know what's wrong with everything else, you can see why Bitcoin has already won.
Right.
So to me, it's like the price shuffling or staying still or starting to dip or any of that stuff as we come in and week out and kind of repeat. It's kind of irrelevant because of that, because what's the alternative? Mm-hmm. So I go back to fiat currency because Bitcoin failed. Yeah. Like, what does that do for me? Well, we know the problems with it.
Yeah, let's be absolutely clear. Even in the past 12 months, Bitcoin is still up 220%.
I didn't even know that. That's surprisingly enough.
You feel me?
I believe it, though.
Like, that takes 15 years in a stock market.
Sure.
If you're in an S&P 500.
That's what I mean,
from an investment
perspective. So I go back to fiat. I go back to the stock market.
So you go back to that.
I'm not. That's the thing. So, like, when, Jack Mahler's made famous, but when people literally use the term die on this hill, I think people nowadays, in general, not just Bitcoin, use words just all over the place. Yeah. But that's my thing about it, is like, even if it's this low, why would I give it up? Yeah. If the alternative is that, decisive and that, much of a canter in life. Mm-hmm. So, for the listeners that are antsy, if you're antsy, like you said, I sometimes I don't even think about the people that bought at the top. But yeah, that is a problem. Don't be. Go educate yourself.
Just in general, a loss isn't a loss until it's realized. So if you're holding your money on an exchange, you're down quote unquote 50%, but you're holding on to it. So it only becomes real when you sell that position and you say, I lost 50%. Yeah. If you just hold on to Bitcoin, do you really think in a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, the price will not exceed 65? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it's a ticking time bomb.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Especially with the halving, when that comes up, it always seems to be. That's that every 4 years.
Yeah, I've been explaining that to my friends. Like, right now, there are 900 Bitcoin a day, right? Next halving, 450. Next halving, 225. Next halving. By that point, we already have influencers and celebrities and, football players saying, I'm going to take my bonus money in Bitcoin. Yeah. What do you think the world's going to be like in 10 years? You know what I mean? Yeah. With a further advancement. Lightning right now, bro, is insane.
Very early in
This is the beginning of layer 2. This is like the beginning of going from, ponies to cars. Yeah. Or, building bridges and steel infrastructure starting. Like, we're just at the beginning. And I'm using Lightning today, and I'm like amazed at
Powerful.
This.
Yeah. I don't know what I want to get into when it comes to Lightning next. Yeah. And I know it's already happening, gaming and Lightning. Yeah. Because it seems so no-brainer for those two things to go together, micropayments and transactions.
YouTube.
I meant like literally in the game, like how developers can incorporate Lightning as incentives in the game. And the fastest thing that I can think of is all right, let's go something that everybody knows, either the PlayStation trophies or the Xbox achievements. What if every achievement came with, instead of 100 points, 100 sats? as a reward. And that could easily be done.
That's fire.
Because
they already have so much money flowing into the games. Like everything now is like, upgrade this, buy a different outfit, do this, buy this map, do this.
But guess how many of those big entities, as we know, are eating off of those transactions?
Oh,
that means that, a homeboy that's playing, 16-year-old that's playing Fortnite or whatever, or Roblox or whatever, needs mom and dad's credit card, Visa, MasterCard, or Discovery, or whoever it is getting a hit for you having to upload money for your child's wallet. We're not this situation, as we learned from El Salvador and other places.
Yeah, Lightning cuts it out.
Your kid could have an anonymous wallet where the key part is no KYC for your kid. You could just have a dummy email. At worst, some of these wallets don't even ask for an email. And your kid could then take his allowance money.
Yeah, that's fine.
And you could load it up and cut Visa out, cut everybody out. And instantaneously, no processing. Meaning that, when the worst thing about a video game is when you have to leave the experience. So, dude, if I have to hit the dashboard button and go into the store and load up the whole pay for whatever I'm about to buy, the DLC, that's whack. But what if I could just choose in the game from a character saying, "Do you want to buy this?"
Pay
and you
with
say,
my
"Yeah."
Lightning wallet.
Oh no, just immersed into the game. So there's a blacksmith in the game that says to upgrade your sword is 300 points or whatever.
Scan this QR code.
Your wallet's already rolling. Right, and then boom, you could just charge it instantly right there, and bingo. Like World of Warcraft style, the guy on the other end who's the blacksmith could be another player.
Yeah.
That's because doing the blacksmith service,
he would be like
he's getting rewarded.
He'd be like a Lightning channel.
Everybody would have a channel.
Yeah.
I mean, all the management could be done through the consoles, so the Xbox and the PS4 in this example.
You got to patent this idea, my man.
It's a tough thing to put together, but if somebody can solve that, and I know there's a lot of people already working on games. But every time I hear about it, it's usually tokens in the game. And I want to just direct sat for sat. Lightning, is the only way I would think. But
I'm not a fan of tokens either.
Yeah, but if you could get that World of Warcraft addiction, which still exists, but maybe a new one, right, for the new age, and people get addicted, and they're doing services inside the game and getting rare weapons and rare stuff like that, and I could settle instantly with you on the game by not leaving to the store, by staying in the game, you giving me a cue that says press A to accept, I say yeah, and you give me the rare weapon, and I give you the Lightning currency or the sats, and we go off to whatever the hell we do in the game. You were bringing up GTA. Imagine that concept. We set a let's just, I don't know if this example persists, but let's say we're the police. We set a pot inside of a bank of 15,000 sets.
Yeah, I'm thinking through how GTA would roll this out. I'm already thinking about growing up, it was the Godfather stuff. So you're on mafia missions. So kids are going to do mafia missions and get paid sats. As a bounty.
Or just as a competitive, back and forth. Once again, the cops load up a vault and it's the criminal's job to earn the vault. And then the cops fairly agree. You got buyers. You get the 15,000 sats. That's what's up. And that's a great atmosphere.
That's fire.
But that's what I'm interested in getting into next.
Even on 2K, we run 3s and 5s already.
Sports.
So it's literally, me, my man's, his boy, and there's the Bitcoin in real life, the Bitcoin basketball tournament. They're coming to Boston.
Okay.
I think each team puts in 2,000. They can have up to 8 players. $2,000.
Gotcha.
Or worth of Bitcoin, whatever.
Yeah, gotcha.
But the winner gets 18,000 in Bitcoin.
That's kind of dope.
Right. And so I hit up my mans who played D League for the Lakers. And I'm like, yo, me and my man G are talking about
playing.
Let's put a squad together. We would put the dough up for the team.
Yeah.
And they would play and we would just sponsor it. But this dude, NBA talent.
This should be a win.
I feel like it's an easy win, fam. Unless Scalabrini comes out the woodwork or some of these big Boston dudes. But in the game, you win rewards, right? So you win new Jordans or you win new points. Yep. You could obviously win sats, or if you want to challenge someone in 5-on-5, that could totally be a thing. I could totally see dudes playing for money as is. You know what I mean? Just to make the game more fun.
Yeah, no. Imagine, how 2K lets you do the court thing on the side. So imagine like a hustle where everybody involved in that game has money on the side, sats on the side, and the team takes a pot. Yeah, but imagine even, I don't even know if this is legal, but like a over the counter bookie session where it's people watching the game. Could bet on the side.
That's sponsored by DraftKings, right? And that's how DraftKings.
Sure. I hate sponsoring by anybody. But yeah, just imagine that.
No, I'm saying that's a plug for them. That'd be an opportunity for them.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That'll be crazy.
So they could watch players, good players. I mean, you're not going to watch scrubs play, but players from around the world that are tournament level players.
Yeah, bro.
And be able to bet on the side,
Bro.
Lightning sats back and forth.
We were playing 2K.
Yeah.
And there was this crazy noise. And I'm like, yo, what is that? And they're like, oh, that's a legend. I'm like, what's that mean? And that's like basically an elite player whose record is like insane.
Yeah.
So like you're already playing people like that. And then those people end up playing high level tournaments and they win, $1 million.
Yeah.
And those kind of things. So that could easily be a whole
That's insane.
sat industry.
Yeah.
And I've already seen indicators that online gaming kind of favors Bitcoin anyways.
Yeah.
I think Xbox had mentioned it, I believe. And I think another source as well. But
it would only make sense because of, once again, what Lightning can do. I don't think they were necessarily focused on Bitcoin because, as we know, how would you play a game with the block time being settled 10 minutes later?
Yeah.
Unless the intermediary, which is Microsoft or PlayStation, holds it and you trust them with it. But now we're incorporating trust, which is a very bad thing. But Lightning changes the game. And we just gave examples of stuff, I guess, that we play. These kids are playing something completely different nowadays.
Yeah.
The potential's there. But that's kind of what I want to start digging into, how Lightning is working in games.
Yeah.
And not tokenized stuff, because I've heard a few guys, companies, I should say, say we got in-game tokens that runs on this and runs. I'm talking about just straight Lightning sats somehow, some way.
Yeah.
I think the company that figures that out has a good product, has the next step in what's going on. It'll get me playing games again for sure, because there's more of incentive. I've always had the argument with my friends. What the hell is it? Like when I first got into Xbox, achievement points were very big. Like it was like the badge of honor. It was like, yeah, this homeboy guy. And I think there was even like a trophy for like 100,000 sats or something like that. Not sats, achievement points.
Yeah.
But I always had that argument, like, yeah, what are these trophies for? What the hell does this do? I could delete my account, start brand new. I could have 50 million platinum trophies or whatever. It's not going to matter, achievement points. But it would change the game if I was collecting sats for playing games. It would be an incentive for me to dust off my Xbox and play.
Yeah.
Microsoft, PlayStation.
I was playling the new UFC.
Is that good?
Damn.
You be playing wild shit.
You play it on a big screen. You sit close to the screen. It's like almost like virtual reality.
That's insane.
But play UFC for sats. You know what I mean? Like
everything.
That'd be fire.
You can see where Lightning is such a powerful, protocol and is working so well that you can have like a million ideas for accepting Lightning payments. Yeah. Because it solves that speedy, trustless resolution problem.
I was listening to Preston Pish and Jack Mallers, and he was talking about Lightning in El Salvador. And he was like, listen, when you go to buy pupusas, they give you a QR code to scan. You scan it, Strike connects to your bank, and your bank basically funds a transaction. You pay $10 for the pupusas. You send it via Lightning to the vendor. You pay that invoice. Yeah. They immediately get Bitcoin. They can hold the Bitcoin or they can transfer to USD, and it's all done instantly. There's no need for Visa. There's no credit or debit. There's no like, hey, you have $10 coming in. It'll be cleared in 4 days. So they can't actually access those funds. The funds are immediately there. So they immediately take full custody of payment. And, just listening to Jack Mallers explain step by step what Strike is doing. And it's amazing stuff, man.
Yeah, every time I hear him talk, I'm just reminded. I share the same sentiment.
He's 27 for the record.
But to me, what I get from it is that, and I know he would agree to this, hands down, is that when you talk about coding and you talk about engineering, there's people actually solving problems that a lot of people yap about. Yeah. And since we're so connected in this world, the real people that can mitigate problems and actually solve problems are coders and engineers. They're literally the only people designed in this world, the way it is, functioning world, to be able to solve real world problems, unless you have a crap load of money. But that only solves certain problems at that. What you were just explaining there, what Jack always explains, is that through code, I think this might have been on McCormick's podcast, not Pish's podcast, but I think heard Jack said, what was it that he freaking said? That we benefit from him sitting in this little woman's closet or whatever, and him hacking away and coding away. The world benefits from that. The system benefits from that. And yeah, man, these coders are just, for a while there, they were underrated. And I think him and a lot of people are changing the world. Like you just said, for the pupusa lady to be able to settle instantly, that's solving a real problem. Yeah. A huge problem.
Well, let's pause right there.
Sure.
Right? This is why that's a problem. The restaurant business is super tough in general. It's a super cash flow intensive business, right? So some businesses will operate where they have enough money to buy food, but they can't pay you your full week's paycheck because they don't have cash. So like having instant finality means you immediately can debit your funds if you want to.
Right.
So like restaurants you're usually strapped for cash. So that gives them more breathing room because they don't have to wait. You know what I'm saying? 3 days, 4 days for that transaction to clear and for them to be able to take those funds and then pay for, more inventory or pay their employees.
And be able to, get the majority of the share and not get killed in the process, right? Like not pay the middleman to process.
Right.
That's the weirdest word in the current money system, I think, is process. What's processing? I don't understand. I saw somebody post the other day, which is hilarious to me, which was I went to the bank and did a bunch of wires. And the bank asked me why. But apparently just saying because I want to is not a reason enough.
Yeah.
Like what do you mean? I want to wire a bunch of money. So who cares?
Yeah.
What are you asking? I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, I had that conversation with a friend recently. He said his family in Portugal, his dad has businesses out there and he consistently has to bring money back. And it's always like an issue.
It's a problem. But through coding, more specifically through open source coding. I want to say that because all these banks, these companies that run applications, they all have coders. Yeah. But open source coders that have taken like the vow of volunteering, the vow of, just building, right?
Yeah.
And are really changing the world, all the way down to from the APIs, because, a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, but the, surfers, the people new to Lightning kind of give all the fruition to Jack, right? But Jack kind of was able to build something on the shoulders of giants.
Oh, absolutely.
Of huge, Lightning Labs and huge individuals that have put a lot of work in. But open source coding, like these coders volunteered in many cases their time to get it to where Jack Mallers can do this. It's like the ultimate assist.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm about to throw this up, you're about to boom it. And that's why
it's called El Salvador.
It's called everything because this leads it right into the next thing. But that was, how coding is solving real world problems. And shout out to the coders, shout out to the open source guys. I personally look up to all of you specifically because I know how difficult it is to bash your head on the keyboard and figure it out.
Yeah.
This actually popped up in my head right now. All of these up and coming companies in the Bitcoin space are going to have to compete with Square.
Yeah.
I think Square has positioned themselves.
I saw your tweet.
I don't remember what I tweeted. I remember the gist of it though.
Yeah.
But through hardware wallets, sort of like they did with the Square readers, that opened up this game for a lot of businesses to be able to just be like, I'll take your credit card right here.
Exactly.
I got you on the spot.
Exactly.
They opened it up for small businesses. And then through everything from like the CashApp to the banking infrastructure, like the Square app and stuff like that, you could get receipts, you could do. So they made it very easy for small businesses to get in. And now they've positioned themselves to do this for multiple industries. The music industry, with titles, library, and catalog, being able to stream sats directly to an artist that posts up, it's going to be huge, especially if it's combined with podcast. That's going to be huge right there. What they're doing with the Square banking, I'm sure is going to be able to handle Bitcoin transactions back and forth. Now you're going to have a Cash App or a Lightning invoice code. They're going to scan the code, and like the Papusa lady, you're going to get paid for your T-shirt that you just made right there on the spot. And then in the background, you could do some type of banking service with Cash App where they convert it for you or whatever like that. Sky's the limit with what they can do.
Yeah.
And, I feel a way about juggernauts coming in, but I think the Bitcoin, especially the Bitcoin developers, take this as a big challenge.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's on then. Like, and I think they can do, Jack, intentionally, unintentionally, is going to force the industry to just adapt to incredible products that are about to come up. But I think the competition will always be Square. I think Square, especially when it comes to aiming at businesses.
Yeah.
I think if they get a hardware wallet out and they're able to convince people to have like a savings account, eventually release like a credit card, a debit card, right? That gives you sats back and integrate this.
I'm sure they're working on that.
Yeah, integrate this whole system.
They're talking about that at the minimum.
Absolutely.
Especially with NYDIG getting involved in the space.
Yeah. So big things to come, but that's, coders always solve problems, but the problem is that these coders now have to go up against big pockets and big entities because it's not Jack, it's Jay. It's, it's a lot of companies mashed together that have the opportunity to do a lot of things. I'm going to keep my eye on Tidal. Whatever they're going to call it, maybe they'll change the name of it. I don't know. But they have a huge library. They've always had lossless audio, which I know Apple.
Ooh, how does it sound?
I know Apple just introduced it, so I haven't heard Tidal, but I got with the AirPods and with Apple lossless, it just sounds incredible. It's like spaced audio. It's nuts. It's a thing. So on Tidal, it should be just as good. I know they have exclusive podcasting, right? Like Rap Radar guys, those guys are on there exclusively on Tidal. I think Angie Martinez is exclusive to Tidal. I got my eye on Tidal because once again, if they open up this thing where through Cash App or through Square Banking, you can stream sats to Angie Martinez and do all this stuff. I love Angie Martinez, by the way. Shout out to Angie Martinez. Probably never listen to this, but that's an incredible thing in my opinion. And they, from the very beginning, they were the company that said we pay our artists. Remember that?
That was a part of their like core mission. Like we know that artists aren't getting paid, and we want to be a safe haven for artists. We want to pay artists because these people get like a fraction of a penny per stream. I was looking at artist numbers the other day, bro. And so like when you brought this up, I was laughing because they'll have like touring revenue. And if a lot of artists didn't tour last year, the number is 0. And then they have streaming sales, and then they have album sales. Nobody's buying albums. Everyone's streaming, and the streaming numbers are trash. And then they have merch. And so when you take the game and say you can pay your favorite artist directly, like imagine you're going through a hard time and you're listening to your favorite artist and that song just helped you in that moment.
And what a marketing campaign. Sorry.
No, you just hit the donate button. You know what I mean? Like,
I could see that marketing campaign already. Hey, we promised our artists will get paid, and now they're going to get paid the purest money of all time. They could word that in any way, shape, or form. And if they go with, hey, we promised this, it took us a while, but now we're going to give this type of service.
Yeah.
Once again, I don't even know what to call them anymore. Square as a whole, I think they're positioning themselves with a forward-thinking leader to say, hey, we could take advantage of a lot of these areas and explore them. And that goes from, once again, I thought about when they said hardware wallet, I thought about their swipe reader. And I was like, oh, they've known how to do this already. Like, I think it's going to be great. And I think more of your barbers, more of your local people, more of your T-shirt merchants, more of all that stuff, because of Square's innovations and products are going to get tapped into Lightning, and they're going to get onboarded into Lightning and know what Bitcoin is.
Yeah, it'll just be part of the infrastructure.
And that's good. And that's why back to what we were saying in the beginning, people getting dicey. You have to understand that Bitcoin has already won.
Yeah.
It has already won because there's nothing that can solve that problem better and more seamless. And since it's software and it's a protocol, it can always just be updated and clean cut and, and
upgraded.
Little boo-boos every now and then, you know what I'm saying? But they get patched, they get fixed, and the uptime is impeccable and it's trustless. I mean, I get that the price lures people in, and to give you a second shout out, I understand that people did buy at the high. I kind of forget about those people.
Yeah.
But you got to understand that at some point, this has already won. I think it's already won, but at some point, it'll be more obvious to people that it's already won.
Yeah.
Because the current way sucks so bad.
Yeah.
That dude with the wires, so bad. We're at the point where we're asking permission to use our own hard-worked energy and finances. We're asking these people permission to get loans. We're asking these people permissions to get robbed and get pillaged. Well, what kind of scenario do we get in where we, ask allow ourselves to get pillaged and then ask for permission out of it?
Yeah.
That's a very strange world. But I guess, most Bitcoiners are aware and other people are not. This was just to liven it up a little bit. The next one I got is the on-chain guys.
Yeah.
We got to talk about this, man.
Glassnodes.
Why? Yeah, the Glassnodes dudes. Will Clement. There's a Root, I think is another one.
Yep.
What's the S2F guy? The
Stock to flow model.
Yeah, 100 trillion, I think is his tag. And this is not to call these gentlemen out. They're experts in something that I am not an expert in.
Yeah.
That's important to state.
I mean, let's be clear. What they do is they look at charts, they look at inflows, they look at outflows to just see what's going on in the market.
Yeah.
And from there, they make predictions. Is it bullish? Are we going up? Is it bearish? Are we going down? Are we consolidating? Are we just staying in the 30 range for a little bit before we get back to 40? And they're, making a case for what they believe is right based off of data, based off of inflows, outflows. Like I follow a few whale alert pages. So like dudes are like, yo, I think yesterday, there was a transaction of like 6,000 Bitcoin. And dudes are like, some whale just bought 6,000 Bitcoin. And so, they see data like that. They monitor it daily and they say, hey, I think by, July, we're going to be at 100 grand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's July and we're at 30 grand. So what's the deal? You know what I mean? And you had said off air, like they're like the weatherman where they can continuously be wrong. And that just is what it is.
I guess they're worth 250K followers.
Yeah, no.
Because they're wrong more often than that.
So one thing I like to see just, and we talked about it on the episode with Nick Badia, just kind of seeing the market and seeing the movement, seeing the inflows, seeing the outflows, and like it's cool to see charts and get some indicators and insight on, like, hey, whales are continuously buying thousands of coins every day. And I don't know, it helps paint a picture of what's going on in the market. So from our perspective, so it's good to have those insights. Do I take what they say as gospel? Like, as it's going to happen? No. But it's good to see data and why they think the way they think.
Yeah, like a lot of these dudes got massive following.
Oh, they do.
And I think it's just back to maybe somebody who bought at a high.
Facts.
Why did they buy at a high? Because, one of these gentlemen probably said that it's about to be at 200K by this day.
Yeah.
And I do understand that they're a guessing game, right? Like they're just looking at numbers and all that. But 250,000 followers it's enough to get some emphasis.
To manipulate the price.
No. Just to be able to get a lot of people to make bad decisions, right?
Yeah.
To have that network effect to say, hey, well, if 250,000 people follow him, then it must be good to buy at this price. He must be right. And his chart looks fancy. It's colorful. It's nice. It's this. And to me, it's just, I think Michael Saylor said this somewhere in the past. Somebody has said this, but this is just watching price discovery happening in real time. So it's like, if we know this and we don't know what's going to happen literally an hour from now, 2 hours from now, like if this thing is just flying at 1,000 miles per hour right now, why would somebody like that get 250,000 followers? That's not a contribution, in my opinion. They obviously have 250,000 followers and I have 400.
Yeah.
But this is where, I have to try to remind people about noise and signal. We have to stick to the signal. We have to stick to what this thing has already won is my signal. But yeah, I just try to get away from that because I see these guys. I think I'm down to Will Clement, but I've unfollowed pretty much all of them. Actually, Will Clement went, but Roots, I think, is the only one that I still follow.
Gotcha.
And, that's not a diss to these gentlemen. And they try to fulfill their audiences. They do try to give content and stuff like that. It's better than staying quiet and saying nothing, I guess. But that could impact a lot of people. I know a lot of people like to pick on Elon and say, well, a lot of idiots are listening to you and Dogecoin could go broke. And that can also happen if you tell them that this price of Bitcoin is going to be 200K by a certain date.
Yeah.
And especially if these people are not well versed in Bitcoin and only care about the price.
Yeah.
That's another big problem.
Yep.
I just want to know. I mean, but the weatherman exists, like you said, and he's wrong the majority of the fucking time. Or I don't know, but I just wanted to bring that up because I had to remove a few of them, and they still pop up in my feed anyways. But I've always wondered that in my head.
Yeah.
Is there a better way to block people? Can I even if I think
you can blacklist certain words. So I don't know. Does that blacklist a handle?
I don't know.
Like if you put the @ and then
Yeah.
So if someone else is adding that person or retweeting, you just don't even see the retweets either.
I got to figure that out. It's just, it doesn't need to pop up. It's just weird stuff.
Yeah.
This was a screen cap, so I don't know if it was real. Did Pop say something about bad thing, ETH going to be bigger, marketplace? It was a screen cap of his post. But
I didn't see it.
I know those get twisted up.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
It was like unpopular
opinion.
Unpopular opinion, and I think he said in the long term, ETH's growth and market is going to be better than Bitcoin. Just something I don't know. I did completely.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't follow him, so I don't know if the screen cap was legit.
Yeah, I'll look. I'll pull it up.
Yeah, pull it up. But if he did say that, I'm not a blubbering idiot.
I'm not surprised. So here's where I'm not surprised. Yeah, he's a marketing guy.
Yep.
Jason Williams is a marketing guy. All right. I listened to Jason Williams on Press and Pitch. Fantastic interview.
Yeah.
And he talks about, how they started mining Bitcoin with free energy, essentially, right? Burning tires. And they started with cryptocurrency miners, Bitcoin miners, Ethereum miners, and stuff like that. So he mines Ethereum and it's almost in their best interest for Ethereum to be big and amazing, financially speaking. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but then they try to cop the other side of the fence, though.
Yeah.
The famous one that we can remember is probably in the Hamilton play, Burr or Hamilton saying, if you stand for nothing, Burr, what would you fall for?
Yeah.
So you mined early. So you got rich pretty early.
Yeah.
So you got to stand on something. And then they say, well, at least Jason Williams does a lot, that it's on the pleb Bitcoin hill. That's what he dies on.
Yeah.
So why do your actions say otherwise?
Yeah.
Because you're a marketer? I'm supposed to give you a pass for that?
Yeah.
Sure, most people do. And that's how you pay your bills. And that's how your kids and your family have a fantastic life. But what do you stand for?
Yeah.
I don't understand. You're misleading a lot of people. Not me. Yeah. Don't think about me. Don't think about the guys that seem to be, convinced enough that they don't need you. but you have big followings. You have big ripple effects. So to him, to Pomp, to all those guys, like, I understand that you got to get money to survive in this world. And I understand that you guys like to make money and are good at making money. I want to know is, what do you stand on by saying one thing and your actions doing something else?
Yeah.
I've said this on this show before. Maybe I'm just a brokey.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take that. But it's still my place to be, or anybody's place to be able to call you out on that.
Yeah.
Especially if you want my attention.
Right.
Right? Like, your job is to get people's attention and get follows and get all this stuff. If you mine Bitcoin and you're a pleb and you die on that hill and you seem to broadcast everything you want, why are you saying nothing else but, hey, that ETH stuff is flawed?
Yeah.
They're making proposals that can revert the blockchain. Meaning that, like, oh, you were settled, Ben. You got your money. Well, something happened and we're going to go back and your transaction no longer exists. So you, businessman, don't got that money. So even if it is an unpopular take, it's clout chasing.
Yeah.
Why are you giving that take? And if it's because I'm a generalist and I like all coins and all that, say that. Die on that hill.
Yeah.
Don't come back when the Bitcoin price starts to go 50 and start a multi-trillion. It's doing this to gold. It's doing this. It seems off to me.
Yeah.
And I think when it comes to that, Pomp is bad and worse at that. But in J. Will is that, it's like, I want to like you. I just don't know what you stand on. And it's not important to your life or my life that we figure that answer out. But I can still make my own decision about you, right? From what the information that I've received.
Yeah. I mean, we all form judgments.
For sure. And there's a reason. But you can't go to Elon and say, hey, man, you're misleading people. Well, you're doing the same thing. Same thing, just a different arena. Same exact thing. You're using your clout and your presence to get people to think a certain way, and then you go in to get bags because you think people won't care.
Yeah.
Or you're willing to just tell yourself, well, the people that don't like it could just stop unfollowing me. That's a very well-privileged thing to say. To me, it just makes you a fake.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if that tweet was real. I don't even know why we went down this rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Because it was a screen cap that I saw on somebody else's tweet, and I know you can alter stuff like that. So I was like, And I know Pomp is the easy target to be altering his words because he has a lot of hate, especially in the pleb community. But yeah, if it is real, there's no place for you to say that unless you're going to die on the hill of like, hey, man, I'm interested in everything. And that's cool because that's just being open about it. Yeah. But when I was listening to Pomp and when I was interested in Pomp, which is probably no more than like 6 months ago.
Yeah, it was Bitcoin.
It was like, yo, the price is skyrocketing. We're going to ride the moon together.
He had some really good takes even on like Fox.
I think he does have some really good takes.
Where, you know, that I remember him saying like Bitcoin is the apex predator of financial assets. Yeah. And him and Jay Will, they were working on a script to pitch to investors for certain businesses. And it was like, hey, you know, allocate 1% into Bitcoin. Yeah. And so, I mean, these guys have been in the space for a long time. Sure. They get their bags. Do they do things just for the bags or just for the clout? I'm sure, man. This is the good old McCormick problem, too. Yeah. Like, it's like, hey, man, I understand. That's your boy. Yeah. I think the guests he has on are fantastic. And I think that he has enough clout, if you want to keep using that word, to get really good guests on. I think people are impressed. His numbers seem to be super impressive. Yeah. So, like, there's nothing to say, but it goes back to that good old problem where it's like, I'll give you this perfect example. I think I might have said it, maybe not. I've said it in a different conversation. I listened to the Parker Lewis episode because he's doing the Gradually Then Suddenly series, which I highly recommend to anybody. Go check that out. But, you know, because of your actions, right? Because of your presence, you're forced to be able to do these ads and have to have these sponsors. So right before I hear Parker Lewis come on, there's an advertisement for Casa. And there's not a problem for saying that as a whole because we understand how advertisement works. But to me, that's, you know, when it comes to multi-signature, that's direct competition with what Parker Lewis is doing and all that. So it's just a little tasteless to me to have that be the introduction to Parker Lewis. You could have maybe even put that at the end, but I don't know if the contract. These ads on these podcasts are annoying. The one on Press and Pitches, it's legit like 2 minutes. It's like, bro, come on. So that's the good old, what I call the Peter McCormick problem. It's like, look, I listen to your listeners, but damn it, I think you're not the guy. Yeah, that's all. And you're thankful in the position. Not so much McCormick. I think he's actually journaling about like being a journalist in the field right now. But these other ones, the ones we've been talking about, like I'm a nobody. I don't need to follow you. I could be brokey. There's a lot of reasons to be like, oh, that's why you wouldn't listen to him. To me, is like I come from a marketing background, and I always know how to spot decisiveness, in my opinion, and it's not something I want to subscribe to. Yeah, that's all it is. And early on, I tried to subscribe to it, and almost a bunch of times it led me the wrong way.
sometimes bigger than that, because I would listen to these individuals and, be pumped by these individuals. And if you want to give the easiest example of trying to BlockFi, right? Like you have this, like these guys saying these things when really they don't have your best interest in mind. They're trying to just line the pockets. Is that a problem? Depends on who you ask. Mm-hmm. It's about virtues, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing too. Pomp and Jason Williams are both, I'm pretty sure they're both BlockFi investors.
Yeah.
Right.
Super successful guys, by the way.
So
I don't know if we've said that already. But
yeah,
super successful guys. That doesn't have to be said here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they are.
So no, I think like that influences, like, oh, I'm an investor and I have this audience, so let me publish to my audience. You know what I mean?
You got to be on brand. Is that kind of what you're saying? Like they got to stick to that brand? Like he can't be Bitcoin Maxi, neither one of them, if they have a brand that is not Bitcoin Maxi and seems to be, adapting. I guess that's the old Brian Armstrong Coinbase problem. Like eventually you just dabble so much on chasing fiat that you forget about the goal and you forget about what Jack is doing. You forget about the solving the problems. And sometimes solving the problems doesn't fill your pockets.
Yeah.
But this is going to sound lame, but it fills your soul. It fills your heart. It's the right thing to do, especially in a world where our rights and everything that we believe is being snatched from us.
Yeah.
So, damn it, if that's going to make you a little bit less richer, excuse me for being nosy. I just think in this day and age, and I like always Max Kaiser quoting, it just sucks the evil out. I think you guys are not necessary in this industry, not in industry, in this game, and this asset, and this whatever way you want to look at Bitcoin and this protocol. I don't think any evil is necessary here. And if you mislead even, let's say 10 people, maybe not one, maybe if you just mislead 10 people and they put all their money somewhere you told them to put it, or they bought at the top because of you, I think that's a problem. And then that's a problem. And it's a thin line. It's a thin line. But that's why I think we do good on giving information. Yeah. Because I don't like to have anybody go broke because of me, and I won't lie to you. We've come in this episode and have.
Hey, let's be absolutely clear on misleading people and price action, right? So I've bought Bitcoin at $4,000. I bought Bitcoin at $64,000. I consistently buy. I bought chunks at the top.
Same here.
So my portfolio is down, but it's not realized again unless I cash out, which I'm not going to.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
yeah. Good point. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
If that's what it takes. But it won already.
Yeah.
You don't need the price to do anything. Yeah. You just need to get as much of this as possible.
Facts.
That's the thing about it. It's an accumulation thing. Just get it. Listen, when you buy a 64, you still feel good about it.
Absolutely.
Because at the time, it was the best purchase.
Yeah.
So you bought it. And back to price discovery, damn it, if 64 feels good, I'm buying 64. I'm buying 100. I'm buying 150. Why not? It's still the best purchase on the spot that you could make. And it's the only way to get away from that crappy game, the other game. I don't know. Price shouldn't be it. And, we started with the weather guys. We started with the big marketers. I don't know. This isn't a diss, but I'm definitely allowed to be able to analyze what I see. And I'm definitely able to decide on character. And that's why I don't follow these guys. I'm not just saying shit and following them anyways. Like, I just shut it off. I try to.
Right.
But come on, fellow Twitterans. I don't even know the word.
Jose wants the...
I keep getting them on my feet because of y'all.
Jose wants the pleb Twitter experience. No marketing gimmicks.
I just don't want the big guys to say they're plebs.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Just pick another word. Like, by definition, they're not a pleb. Yeah, that's it. Like, you just go back. But, this has happened since the beginning of the time. The plebs have always rebelled against the upper elites, or the upper society. The plebs always have that strife of, oh, they better. Well, we make it happen. And it's always that battle, whether it's the plebs back in Greece saying, hey, we're the farmers, we're the builders, we're all this, and you guys are just the fancy robe wearers. Or whether it's now where the plebs is like, yo, I throw my check on this. You just manipulate people to get this. Like, it's the same thing, and it will happen forever. But, have some balls. Read the room.
Yeah.
Just don't pretend to be. And your followers will be more organic. They'll be natural.
Yeah.
Like, they won't care if you push Ethereum stuff or NFT stuff. If you're just open about it, but they just don't, and it's in their best interest to not. Or maybe their affiliates and their deals have just forced them to have to be this person.
Yeah.
But then I would like to think that you can just say, well, I'm not doing business with you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of Bitcoin companies that may not have big pockets, but I'm sure would love to get sponsored.
Yeah.
I would love to get, so it's just very weird to me. It's an opinion thing or whatever. But The credit card's coming out. I don't know if you want to talk about that. I don't know much about it. I'm not subscribed. I got the BlockFi email.
Yeah, I mean,
went right to the trash.
I mean, BlockFi, and there's going to be other brands in the future, but the idea that you can, instead of getting 3% back in fiat, 1 to 3%.
What's that mean, man?
Instead of getting 1 to 3% back on your credit card.
No. But what's this range? What's this 1 to 3? What is it? Is it 1 or is it 3?
Oh no, I'm saying like sometimes people have a bonus. So I have like the Chase Sapphire. I think it's like double points.
So you're not talking about specifically about like the BlockFi one?
No. No.
Do you know any other perks of these cards?
I don't even know.
Cool.
But I think it's probably 2 or 3%.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'll pull up the number. I think it's 3% or less. But cool. Instead of getting USD back, you'll get instantly. Well, I don't know about instantly because BlockFi's custody chain is pretty slow. It's not like Lightning where it's instantaneous, but you swipe your card, you buy a new TV for $2,000, you get, say 3% back in Bitcoin. So what's 3% on $2,000? I don't know.
I don't know either.
Cool. $3 in sats.
Sure.
Which is how many sats, right? I don't know the numbers, but that's the idea. You get sats instead of USD, assuming there'll be an export where you can just send your sats to cold storage. Assuming a lot. I don't know the workflow. But that's the idea.
If I have to keep it on BlockFi, I already deleted the email, so I don't plan on getting it, obviously, by my action. But yeah, if you can't take your sats out of BlockFi, pointless.
Yeah.
And I think Will from Fold, I've only been on Twitter, I think like 2 times today, which is impressive for me, trust me. And Will from Fold was making a statement where he was like, if they don't allow you to actually keep the rewards, then they're not doing it right. That's paraphrasing. He made it sound much more equivalent. I don't know if he was talking directly to somebody or in general to the industry of rewards.
Yeah. I mean, it goes back to
Fold is crushing it, by the way.
Yeah, Fold. Every time I look up, they're doing amazing stuff.
Yeah. I don't like the new wheel, though. The new wheel is absolute trash. Unless you're spending over 5 constantly, not just on one spin. Unless you're spending over 5, you're not really seeing much out of this wheel. But go ahead. Sorry.
No problem. What was I saying? Unfold app. So just like in El Salvador, right? Yep. The street vendor who sells pupusas, they immediately take custody of Bitcoin, and that's important. So if BlockFi is going to hold on to that reward, then exactly what Will is saying, it's not yours. They're holding it in their own vault. You know what I'm saying? And you don't have personal custody. So I'm with him on that.
So is it worth it? Yeah, it's probably not worth it.
I mean, does the average consumer care?
I hate that.
Probably not.
I hate that. See, but that's a very vague thing to say because it's not that they don't care. It's more like they've been programmed to not care.
Yeah, they just don't know to care.
Because it's important to care. The Fold experience is, I think there is like a 50,000 sat limit that you. But yeah, you're able to get sats back on every purchase and for various things. And when you get to 50,000 sats, you can send it to wherever you want, cold storage or whatever. They don't hold on to it. You could hold on to it. I think they got a savings account coming out and things like that. But yeah, I don't know who he was talking to specifically. The only reason I keep thinking of BlockFi card is because I got the email for it. That was the only one I was actually ever subscribed to, but Gemini has one coming around the corner.
There's the NYDIG's partnership with banks. They're going to start rolling out a lot of credit cards.
Yeah, just be careful. Not your keys, not your cheese. Having rewards, I don't care if it's 1 million sats. It's not yours unless it's yours. Unless it's behind one of your addresses. But we'll see. That seems to be popular. I think Fold is ahead of the curve on there, but at least Fold has always been Bitcoin first. They've been very early Lightning contributors.
I was so impressed. Listening to Will, he said early on with Fold that they basically they had to go out of business temporarily. Like they had to put a pause on the business, and they had an opportunity before that to do some deals with shitcoins. And he was like, you know what, we'll close down and we'll figure it out, but I'm not gonna do this. And they shut down and they didn't do it. And then they continued to grow into what they are today.
You see?
And he was talking about it. Like they were talking about the Bitcoin forking where, half or some people left to work on Bitcoin Cash. And there were times where their cash flow was better than Fold's and all this stuff. And he's like, we've seen some crazy things, but we've stayed committed to Bitcoin and Bitcoin only.
Yeah.
So they see the purpose behind Bitcoin and it being, most important. So,
but you see the right way to do it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, is it really that's why I'm able, and all of us are able to determine character. because it's an action-based thing. It's easy to determine character even when you don't know the person, because what you do is the underpinning of it. And as you can see, boom, perfect example.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to clout chase. He doesn't have to do anything. And are you saying he's not successful? He's extremely successful. And so is his company. And they're growing, which is fantastic. So once again, it doesn't matter whether how I feel, whatever. No, it doesn't. But the reason I keep repeating stuff like this is because, most people get shut down when they think these things, because they think that, oh, you just don't understand what they're doing. You just don't understand what No, is that everybody should be allowed to judge character. And everybody could be right or wrong. But, you piece things together. You give examples like Will. It's obvious to see that there's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it. Yeah. So I think the former guys we were talking about is the wrong way to do it, in my opinion. And I think the latter is the right way to do it. Jack, right way to do it. I mean, his company's taking all the fees out and taking all these tax exemptive hits.
With Preston Pish, he's talking about, listen, we're going to start selling Bitcoin for as cheap as possible. Right. And he's like, yo, Brian Armstrong, Coinbase, you think you're going to sit here and take all this market cap? Most of your revenue comes from Bitcoin purchases.
CashApp.
With these crazy fees.
Yeah, all of them.
He's like, you think you're going to have a 5-year run? Yeah, right. I'm going to give you 6 months and I'm going to start selling Bitcoin basically with no fee.
Right. So, I
love it, bro.
I'm amazed by it. And circle back, and I'm not saying you specifically, but anybody that's on the other hand that's thinking I'm hating on the former guys, why can't you do that?
Yeah.
If you really feel the way these gentlemen feel about Bitcoin, so why can't you do that? Because you're affiliated with a company? I don't even need to know that you're affiliated with a company.
They're private investors,
But, just like you can vote with your feet, you can vote with your dough.
Absolutely.
I'm out.
Yeah.
Because if you truly get the narrative and if you truly understand what this thing is doing, you wouldn't want your money in those other companies anyways. They're going to fail at the end of the day. But the argument is always, well, what happens if I just turn it into Bitcoin? I don't know how much Bitcoin you have.
Yeah.
But I can still judge character. And you doing all that, pulling the rug on a bunch of people along the way, saying that I have to turn around and be like, oh, because he put it in Bitcoin, that's like a forgiving thing or whatever.
Yeah.
I might have been one of the people that was rug pulled.
Yeah.
I may not be so forgiving. I just think we highlighted unintentionally 2 great examples of the way to do it, the way not to do it.
Yeah.
And I think that's super important, especially in Max Kaiser's philosophy of, Bitcoin sucks the poison out, sucks the venom out, sucks all that out. I think it's super important. Let's move on to a little bit more technical. You wanted to talk about nodes. What do you want to know about nodes?
Just break that down. Why is it important that, Bitcoiners run their own node, and in layman terms, what does a node do?
I heard Justine Harper say a really good quote about this the other day, which I never thought about. A lot of people always say, run your node so you can support the network. Mm-hmm. It does do that because you're another, voting system, you're another consensus, you have another copy of it. Her point was, do it because it helps you verify 100% that what you have is yours. Everything else that comes after it, fantastic. You're supporting the network, cool. But this whole altruistic feeling of people saying, I'm supporting the network just because I have a node, it's baloney.
Yeah.
You should be using your node to verify 100% with your own copy of that ledger that we all kind of base our center truth at. You have your own copy of that truth, and you can verify against that truth.
So to clarify that, so that means when you make a transaction, you can see the transaction on using your node?
Yep. So if, basically you could just verify from your own thing. So if you were to, write I'm trying to think of an easy example. If you were to write your weight every single day with the same exact color marker and the same exact spot, right? That's a ledger of all the weight that you lost over time. And whenever you go to look for data on that, you can tell it's never been altered because of the color, right? All that stuff. So you're able to say, hey, I sent Ben X amount of Bitcoin. Here's the transaction ID. Don't trust getting the information from out there. I have a copy of that ledger right here. Run it against that ledger. And if you find it there, it's the ultimate truth because I'm getting the ultimate truth. I'm not getting it tampered. I'm not getting a second hand. I'm getting it directly from the source.
It's like a master recording.
Yeah, so you can verify your data on. Gotcha. So that's and then it does help secure the network for various reasons. For node protection, for consensus, for a lot of different things. There's a few different nodes. I run a Raspberry Blitz, which is a Bitcoin core node with a Lightning node sitting on top of it.
Cool.
Lightning is dependent on the Bitcoin blockchain, because that's how it puts the opening transaction and then handles the closing. So it kind of, as layers do, Lightning node sits on top of my full Bitcoin node.
Gotcha.
Full Bitcoin node means you have everything. You have every single transaction that has ever existed from the very beginning, the Genesis block, all the way down to what happened 5-10 minutes ago on the last block. There is such thing as a prune node. And a prune node is that if you're tight on space, like if you're running the node on your computer or if your hard drive is small, you could run like a small version of the blockchain that only has like certain beginning block to certain block. And you could, run your transactions through that. That's not recommended if you want to verify, but to save space. So there's different types of nodes. Miners have their own types of nodes.
Gotcha.
There's a bunch of different nodes. Why I think anybody should get one, verify your stuff. I've been learning, how to use multi-sig and reference the blockchain, like my node. Because before what I was able to do is my cold storage, and I can still do it. One single cold storage, I'm able to verify that on my node and understand that every single input is there, is mine, etc. I haven't been able to do that to any of my multi-sig wallets. So I want to be able to connect away. I'm using Caravan. I'm sure there's other ways to do it, to try to connect to my blockchain and be able to read that my sats are my sats. They haven't been moved. They came. Every single stat is there, and there's no falseness. That's the ultimate truth, as Gigi would say. It's the center point of ultimate truth. And why not have that in your living room?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I recommend getting a node.
Yeah.
We've talked about it before, but Raspberry Blitz, if you want to be a little bit more technical, but purely open sourced. Get Umbro if you're just a consumer dude that just wants to plug stuff in and run it.
That's me right there. Give me the Umbro.
Yeah, but it's not open source. Then listen, they got a good track record. I don't know enough about them to say that they're BS artists or anything like that. But in this world, open source does mean a lot. It didn't mean a lot before because it was like, oh, buy a Pixel or buy an iPhone, and don't worry, just trust them with the code and trust them. But in this world where we're talking about like future wealth, future power, future everything. Yeah, I don't think I want to trust anything that's not open sourced.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on that aspect. Before we go, I don't know much about this, so I won't even get on it. I think NVK, creator of Coldcard, is getting called out for close sourcing the Coldcard code. I don't know how I feel about it yet. I don't know enough about it yet. I think it was great that they were open source to begin with.
Yeah.
But I've also seen them, and I don't know how exclusive to Bitcoin they are. They've added a bunch of stuff to the Coldcard. And I would like to think that he's basically saying, well, all this stuff we don't want y'all to do.
Yeah.
If it's like own proprietary layers on top of the Coldcard, maybe he should close source it.
Yeah, if it's as that, I see no issue with that.
Like, I don't know enough about it.
Yeah, that's their own advancements that they've created.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it's impressive stuff.
For their clientele.
Right. But we'll see. I mean, maybe it's, I still don't think we've seen, the days, I don't think the days are over of hardware storage competition.
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah, I think that's still starting to heat up.
Absolutely
Square coming in, it's about to heat up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they're going for the Coldcards of the world. And I think these companies are saying, well, what do they do wrong? And what could we do better? And maybe that's how they got called out. Like maybe a company tried to dig into their GitHub open source and we're like, wait a minute, I can't see what they're doing. And then when it comes to hardware, that's what Ledger was called out for. That's what a lot of people get called out for is
closed source.
Yeah, open source that code so I can see what's going on in the background. And then a lot of things is that Trezor was kind of like, I guess, the big originator of hardware wallets. And when they did theirs, they open sourced their code. And I believe NVK built his source from that Trezor open source code.
Gotcha.
So it's a weird, open source is a thing and you can build upon it. It's your thing.
Yeah. So when Coldcard went closed source,
I don't know if they did, but
NVK's probably had issues because they were pulling from the open source.
Maybe, yeah. People were reaching out to him saying like, "Hey, why is this happening?"
It almost messes up the chain of custody.
And I've only seen a few. Once again, I haven't been on Twitter much, but I only see a few things. But it did catch my eye, and I love my Coldcard. And I'm curious to see how that plays out. I know that's why Ledger got their beef, and I try to be as even keel as possible with all things.
Yeah.
If they got their smoke for it, I think Coldcard should get their smoke for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's just be even about it. I mean, Coldcard hasn't been breached or anything like that.
Yeah.
But the closed source, I remember early on 2017 time when I first attempted this, I remember that, hey, why are they're the only ones that keep it closed was a negative trait for a Ledger. And everybody else was open. I don't know how that goes. Just wanted to throw that in there. We're about 55 in.
Yeah.
You got anything else, man?
Good to go, bro.
Good to go. Episode 28 is a wrap. Guys, please rate, share, and subscribe. That's how we continue to have these conversations. If you're watching us on YouTube, we appreciate you. Hit the subscribe button. If you're listening on Apple, Spotify, Pocket Cast, any of your favorite platforms, hit the subscribe button. Leave us a review. That helps us float up. That's super important to the whole algorithm thing that's going on. We appreciate you guys. Check out the show descriptions for ways to support the show. We're on the Lightning Network. If you're listening on your favorite app, check us out there. Basically anything to keep this momentum going, because I know the information we're giving is just powerful.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you guys. Check you out next week.
Peace.
Later.